Yes, it did happen at last. Even though Kirk Frost was in handcuffs and genuinely thought he could keep getting away with this mess, the truth just rapped on his front door. Kirk Frost was arrested after reportedly assaulting Rasheeda, if you heard me correctly. Before you exclaim, "No, Kirk again," there's more to it than that. The details are a little jumbled. It was reported that after an emotional confrontation that left Rasheeda crying, police were summoned to the Frost mansion in a scandal or secret baby drama, and Kirk was hauled out in handcuffs, looking as if he had just discovered his entire empire was about to collapse. Rumor has it, though, that this isn't a one-off fight, and indeed, this might be the result of. Has Rasheeda finally had enough of years of betrayal, dubious business practices, and emotional warfare? Was Kirk upset because his sinister secrets were going to be exposed, or is this just another tumultuous episode in the endless Frost saga? After learning the specifics of what truly transpired that evening, you might never again view the site, so settle in and get some popcorn. Kirk Frost had previously been involved in some embarrassing circumstances due to unsavory business methods, side babies, and cheating scandals, but this baby is entirely different. Kirk Frost, who is accused of abusing Rasheeda, is presently incarcerated. All right, let's get started. I'm not even sure how to start with this one. Before everyone says, "Oh, it's just another messy celebrity couple fight," allow me to explain the specifics of this matter. They will completely blow your head away. According to everyone, it was just another typical night in the Frost home. Kirk and Rasheeda were home together, probably pretending their entire empire isn't hanging on by a thread. Given all that Kirk has done to Rasheeda over the years, from financial manipulation to public humiliation to infidelity scandals, we are not even shocked that the tension had been building for months behind closed doors. But this time, oh, she didn't just think about going, she made it known, and evidently, that's what set Kirk off. This man was lucky that she hadn't already left him. Rasheeda recently confronted Kirk about some questionable business transactions he had been conducting behind her back, according to multiple reliable sources close to the couple. Kirk allegedly transferred money into some private endeavors from their joint accounts, and guess what? It is said that another woman was involved in their endeavors. Out here, Rasheeda was building an empire and backing Kirk. This man was purportedly out here looking into the lifestyle of someone else. Rasheeda and Kirk have been through a lot together, as you already know, and we have witnessed her support for him during the whole Jasmine Washington paternity scandal. As if he were the perfect husband, Kirk smiled in Rasheeda's face while having a full side baby, in case you missed it. While searching through bank records late at night, Rasheeda discovered several disparities. Wire transfers to offshore accounts and counterfeit money were missing in significant quantities. Even when Kirk was repeatedly caught sneaking, Rasheeda remained and took money from her, which was the final straw. Business names showing up in their files, so Rasheeda did what any savvy entrepreneur would do and went up to Kirk. When Kirk tried to gaslight her by telling her, "You're overreacting and you're just stressed out," instead of facing her like a responsible adult, Rasheeda just wasn't having any of it. Based on my understanding, Rasheeda was shouting, requesting clarification, and asking. At first, Kirk, the slick-talking manipulator that he is, claimed that he was secretly sponsoring another woman. Kirk, however, grew defensive and started talking about how Rasheeda never expresses gratitude to him and that he is the one who founded this empire when Rasheeda showed him the invoices. Has spent years working her ass off out here, and Rasheeda wasn't about to back down. Their back-and-forth argument lasted over an hour, according to sources, when Kirk said something that shocked her. What he said, exactly what we don't know, pushed Rasheeda over the edge. The police report claims that Kirk allegedly lost his temper at that point. Yes, there is a police complaint. According to reports, Kirk slammed Rasheeda against a wall after grabbing her arm. Even the neighbors told reporters that they heard glass shattering, that there was a pause, and that someone, possibly one of their neighbors, called 911. When the police arrived, Rasheeda was apparently crying and her eyes were red and swollen, while Kirk was reportedly standing in the living room, looking really calm, as if nothing had happened. The cops questioned both of them, but they cuffed Kirk right away after looking at Rasheeda and probably spotting some injuries. Sadly, this is where things become even more problematic when, please pardon me, sir, it's not that serious. You get arrested in your own house after touching your wife, and you don't believe it's that bad. Kirk has a history of dubious behavior, as you are aware, but this is a whole new low, and it says volumes about him that he felt capable of dismissing it as inconsequential. When the police asked Kirk why he had touched Rasheeda, he responded in a like manner. As soon as it was announced that Kirk Frost had been arrested, social media exploded. Some people were stunned within an hour, but the majority replied, "We've been new because let's be real, Kirk's been out here moving foul for years." The story's sole startling element is that she's not fooling around this time, Rasheeda, and it took her this long to finally decide enough is enough. As soon as Kirk was hauled away in handcuffs, Rasheeda reportedly called her lawyer and announced her intention to file for divorce as soon as possible. She said that Kirk might be a manipulator in addition to claiming that she was vying for half of Kirk's possessions. Rumor has it that Kirk's long-kept secret may have been the reason behind this altercation, which went beyond money. It will be a nasty surprise for Kirk if he believes he will escape this unscathed. But hold on, this isn't even the most outrageous aspect of the tale. For that tea, you will be surprised, but you will have to wait until part 2 because, trust me, this is only the beginning of the narrative. If you thought part 1 was messy, you haven't heard yet since Kirk Frost's arrest has a much more repulsive backstory than we first assumed. We picked off where we left off, with Kirk having just been handcuffed and removed after reportedly putting his. Let me remind you that this was the result of years of financial deception, emotional warfare, and betrayal, and that it wasn't just a passionate fight that got out of hand. The bit that will make you cringe is this. It wasn't just about the money, darling. Rasheeda finally lost it, and I don't blame her. Add another level of scandal, which will make Kirk seem much worse than he currently is. Do you remember that I claimed Kirk had been investing in a private business, perhaps to help another woman? That wasn't merely a rumor, and the woman in question, let's assume Rasheeda knew her well, was intimately acquainted with the circumstances. And when I say, Rasheeda recently found out that Kirk had been secretly assisting one of her best friends, as others who visited the Frost house often said. Not just any random Instagram model or a woman he met at the Friends Club, you read properly. No, Rasheeda trusted the individual who had been in their house with their kids while they were seated at this so-called buddy was living a little too well. With expensive handbags, lavish vacations, and first-class flights, and Rasheeda had been suspicious for months. She couldn't figure out how this girl could afford all of it. Rasheeda eventually received a tip from one of her other pals who had seen Kirk. And guess what happened when this woman and another woman were in a fancy hotel in Atlanta? Not only were they conversing. According to insiders, Kirk didn't initially attempt to reject Rasheeda's question about the nature of their conversation. He used the traditional gaslighting tactic instead. It's not what you think, you're being paranoid. At 2 in the morning, speaking in a private hotel room, those with knowledge of the situation said Kirk apparently lost it at that time. He attacked Rasheeda emotionally and vocally, accusing her of being dominating and insecure, before saying the one thing that entirely changed the course of events. Maybe if you paid more. I apologize, sir. You use this to defend your treachery, but trust me, it gets worse. This is the same Rasheeda who stuck by you when you had a side baby, who developed your whole empire while you were out on the streets, and who stuck by you years ago when all the other ladies would have abandoned you. Made worse by the fact that after that disagreement, Rasheeda allegedly told Kirk that she was done, really done, and that she would call her attorney to divorce. Kirk, you know how these cunning individuals act when they know they're going to lose their meal ticket. So that's when the physical altercation started. Kirk reportedly removed Rasheeda's phone from the police report. Her hand and made an effort to remove the proof. Rasheeda apparently tried to get her phone back, but Kirk aggressively grabbed her wrist and pushed her against the wall. At that moment, Rasheeda screamed loudly enough for the neighbors to hear. This is more complicated than a basic domestic disturbance call, so let's talk about the arrest first. Kirk wasn't simply there when the cops showed up. Reports state that Kirk was plainly arrogant when officers questioned him about what had transpired, responding, "She's overreacting. It's just a misunderstanding, sir. How is physically touching your wife, a woman you've publicly humiliated for years, a misunderstanding?" But this is the part that really put a stop to Kirk's life. The police searched Kirk's phone as part of, they found hundreds of text exchanges between Kirk and this so-called buddy, which suggested that Kirk and this woman had been in a committed relationship for over a year. The records covered everything from their shopping excursions to their plane tickets, auto payments, money transfers, and even cute little pet names for each other. While Rasheeda was away trying to maintain the empire they had created together, this man was out here organizing his way out. It's incredible that he was so certain he would get away with it. There are also reports that the authorities found bank documents, According to one of the alleged messages, "Don't worry, baby, we can finally be together as soon as I'm done with Rasheeda." Furthermore, baby Kirk had been depositing hundreds of thousands of dollars into this woman's account that were supposed to go into Rasheeda's business accounts. You already know what this woman's extravagant lifestyle was supported by the money Rasheeda earned, don't you? That's right, Kirk wasn't simply. He was charged with financial fraud and dishonesty. And when the police found out that Kirk was sending that much money through personal transfers and fake business accounts, this became more than simply a domestic conflict. In the event that the charges are upheld, Kirk will now be charged with fraud and embezzlement. Oh sister, Rasheeda is now 5 paces ahead of Kirk. Sources claim that Rasheeda phoned her legal team right away after Kirk was detained and gave them instructions to start an investigation. Rasheeda is rumored to be ready to sue Kirk for everything he possesses and to demand complete custody of their joint business assets. Kirk gets what is coming to him after years of sexual degradation, side babies, and now suspected financial infidelity. Don't blame her. But now that Kirk's legal troubles are public knowledge, more people are starting to come forward, and what they have to say about Kirk is going to make the whole incident seem much more serious. Note that it turns out that Kirk wasn't the only friend she was supposedly engaged with. When you hear what the woman speaking forward is accusing Kirk of, you'll be startled. She has receipts. You'll have to wait until part 3, though, because if you thought parts 1 and 2 were messy, trust me when I say that this story is about to take a turn you won't anticipate. Kirk Frost's legal troubles are only the beginning, as individuals are starting to come out of the woods now that the story has gone viral, and the things they're saying about Kirk, oh baby, might endanger his profession, damage his reputation, and even land him in jail. As we ended, Kirk had just been. As if that weren't awful enough, the police discovered financial records and text messages showing that Kirk had been lavishing Rasheeda's hard-earned money on her lifestyle. Rasheeda questioned Kirk about moving money into private accounts, some of which were connected to one of her purported acquaintances, and Kirk was arrested for allegedly hitting her. You know what? That woman isn't by herself. Kirk was about to believe that things couldn't get much worse when a different woman, not just any woman, though, stepped forward. It is said that this woman is a well-known influencer in Atlanta, and this influencer believes that what she is saying about Kirk will further tarnish the incident as a whole. You all know that the internet detectives will figure out who she is, even though she has chosen to remain unknown for now. The fact that Kirk had been seeing her for almost 2 years made it sound familiar, as he had told the other woman the same thing. However, here's the truth. In addition to revealing what he said, the woman also has screenshots, bank statements, receipts, and even phone call recordings in which Kirk is said to have admitted to misleading Rasheeda about business dealings and, most importantly, using her company as security for a private loan to support his lifestyle with her. I apologize, sir. Take a brief look at this. Kirk was charged with cheating on Rasheeda with multiple women, using her business assets to fund his extramarital affairs, and participating in dubious business activities that could lead to charges of fraud and embezzlement. After this second woman showed up, the situation improved even more because the man thought he wouldn't be caught. Numerous sources, including former co-workers of Kirk and Rasheeda, claim that Kirk had been laundering money through their business for years. Kirk allegedly used shell firms and offshore accounts to conceal money from Rasheeda and the government. Kirk would supposedly move money from the funds into private accounts in his name after transferring their business accounts into these fraudulent businesses. Do you know who was reportedly involved in his setup? Yes, the friend Kirk had supposedly been seeing. This was a full-fledged swindle, and Rasheeda didn't just stand by and watch when Kirk was arrested. She burst into tears and instantly switched into businesswoman mode. Sources claim that she is already collaborating with a group of legal counsel and forensic accountants to freeze Kirk's business accounts. As legitimate company partners, Rasheeda and Kirk reportedly violated their agreement by spending common funds for personal needs. This is the true gag. Is allowed to refuse Kirk his share of their businesses. Yes, Kirk might lose his marriage and the whole Frost empire, and Rasheeda isn't messing around, I promise. She has already called for an urgent hearing to freeze all of their assets until the inquiry is complete, and Kirk will be exonerated if he is found guilty of financial wrongdoing. Here's when it gets crucial. Do you recall Kirk telling both women that he was going to start over and leave Rasheeda? Some stolen text messages claim that Kirk had been trying to sell off his share of their business behind Rasheeda's back in order to walk away with a tidy reward. However, the deal fell through, and you can probably guess why. Rasheeda's name was on the in addition to attempting to steal her money. Kirk was detected because Rasheeda's business sense outstripped his dubious swindle, and the buyer refused to tamper with her without her permission. Kirk is currently facing allegations of fraud as well as potential conspiracy to conduct fraud, both of which carry jail time. This is being taken extremely seriously by the public as well. When this news surfaced, social media went crazy. Hashtag people are dragging Kirk Frost to hell and back because of his arrest, which is still trending. Even his devoted followers are abandoning him. Some even claim that Kirk's career is over. Finally, in the middle of all this upheaval, Rasheeda is undergoing a significant makeover. Said on Instagram, "Believe in the process, baby. Sometimes God removes people from your life for a reason." Sources claim that Rasheeda is going to level up and isn't simply leaving Kirk. According to reports, Rasheeda is already in talks with several networks to turn this whole issue into a documentary series. If Rasheeda chooses to discontinue a Kirk Frost series that is still airing, holy cow, it's disrupting the internet and Kirk is losing his mind. There are rumors that Kirk's lawyers are already trying to reach a plea deal because they think Kirk won't be able to stand a trial. In addition to losing his business, Kirk will also lose his freedom if he admits to financial fraud. Well, Rasheeda, she's already said that there's no going back. Kirk is currently facing financial disaster, a failing business, a failed marriage, and maybe a criminal record. Since he had years to clean up his mess, a loving wife who stood with him through all of his idiocy, a great business that Rasheeda helped establish, and the chance to get better, he really deserves all of this. However, he chose to lie and cheat instead. Kirk continues to remain in a detention cell, wondering how he got here. It's easy to understand. Kirk did this to himself. It remains to be seen if Kirk will weather the incident or if this will be the final straw for his career. I assure you, people, this is not the end of the narrative. Yes, if you'd like to hear the following update when Kirk finally says something, he's going to have to say something. So be sure to like this post, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. This scandal is going to become much messier, sweetheart. There is much more to this story. Kirk faces a destroyed marriage, severe charges, and financial ruin. Will he make it through this, or is this the end? Rasheeda isn't holding back. Amazing. What are your thoughts, guys? Take Kirk into account for everything. Is Rasheeda overstepping her bounds, or does Kirk deserve this failure? Is Kirk going to be able to get over everything? Please leave your comments as his career is now gone. Comments from others struck that like button, then verify that you have signed up. Because I promise that the next update is it's going to get even messier.